I'm like a track me.
Give me the pack and I might pack that. She got a fatty, I might pack that. Give me your addy, we pulling it to your better than we go put it direct.
Hey guys, we're back. I'm back. It's just me. And today I have a video. Of course it's about Poshmark. And it's just some tips to get you started if you're not started. Because if you're not started, what are you doing? I just want to share with you these tips because when I started, I definitely didn't know anyone who was doing it, who was using the app. So I didn't really have anyone to ask. And probably a month after I started selling on Poshmark is when I started my Instagram account. So from there is where I got most of my tips. So my number one tip for you is if you don't have the money, that is okay. Don't throw yourself out into a thrift store and just go buy a bunch of clothes willy-nilly, okay? Go through your closet, source some things you don't wear because I know there's things in there that you don't wear. Source through there. Source through your friends' closets, sell some of their stuff, take like a little commission from it or something, source through your family's closet, and you'll get the money from there. And from that money, you can then invest that into inventory when you go to the thrift store or anything like that. So that's my number one tip. Don't just run to the first thrift store you see. And then my next tip is going to be how to work the app, because there's actually someone that comes into my job every day and she asked me about Poshmark, and it's so hard to really try and explain to someone without showing them the app. Where it shows you the account is pretty much where all of your information is gonna be. Your sales, your likes, your own purchases, and your Posh stats. So it's gonna be all through this. You have campaigns, that's kind of what I'm working on right now. That will be in your sellers tools. Your recent views, that's actually something new that Poshmark added, and I love it because sometimes I forget to like something and then I'll just lose it, but luckily it's in your recent views. Also knowing what kind of parties are going on for that day, what time they're at, and also constantly looking at the showrooms every day, because the showrooms are pretty much there because Poshmark's saying like,
hey, these are the items that are trending right now that are selling like fire.
So they made a whole showroom for them, and I will go ahead and show you. So you're gonna go to shop, you're gonna scroll all the way down, and then you're gonna stop at showrooms. Currently they have diamond earrings, Michelle watches, not gonna pronounce that, Chanel handbags, some Christian Louis Vuitton's So Kate pumps, that Canada Goose jacket, Rolex watches, and David Yurman bracelets. So that is what's trending right now. Sometimes they have a lot of like high-end things trending, so those times I can't really share anything. My biggest tip with the showrooms and how to utilize it the best way is go to them every day, because they're gonna change every single day. And if you have anything that falls into one of those categories, constantly share that throughout the day, because it's pretty much like a party, but all day, not at a certain time. It's 24/7 for that entire day. So you should be constantly sharing it, maybe every 30 minutes, every hour, or as much as you can. Keep it at the top of your closet. And with that being said, things being kept at the top of the closet, Poshmark recently kind of did this a couple months ago, where they, I don't know how to explain it. They kind of show a preview of your closet now when you're scrolling through Poshmark. And I believe it either shows the first 3 or first 4 items in your closet. So like mine, we'll go to mine. I have my whole closet categorized and colorized. So of course at the very top, it's gonna be all black tank tops. So to someone, they're gonna be like, oh, that's all she has. So you really wanna utilize this and share either 3 or 4 of your best items or items you're really trying to sell. So at the moment I have some Vince Camuto heels, if this would focus. There we go. And then I have a Lulu's bodysuit, Adidas leggings that I just relisted because for some reason they had 95 likes and no offers. And then these Zara trousers that I just recently bought. And then when you scroll down, you'll see that the rest is by tank top, short sleeves, and so forth. To reel it all in with knowing how to work your way through the app, that goes along with listing and how to create a good listing. Because sometimes I'll see people who just started Poshmark and in the title it doesn't actually have the brand or like a color, a size. It'll just say like top, or I see a lot of that for Lululemon, and I'm like, oh, like add a color into it. If you know the name, add the style name to it, add the size. I will show you what I mean by that. So I have this Topshop dress, and I usually will look on the tags, because if you look on the tags, it'll give you some kind of number. You Google that number and it will most likely pop up like a stock photo with a style name. And then from there, I usually put that style name in, because people can be on the actual website of that brand. They'll see the name of that whole style, and then they can just go on to Poshmark or Mercari, anything like that, and from there they can find it for cheaper. So I always try to use the style name in the description or in the title. So this is what I mean. I found this stock photo, but I did add it at the bottom. This is what my photos are for it, and I used a black solid background for that. And this is the description. So in the title, it will usually include the size unless I don't have enough space for it. And then I always copy the title and I put it in the beginning in the description, because if you didn't know, the description is searchable as well. So whatever is in the description can be searched up. So I will sometimes add the same title, mix up the words a little bit. And so when it comes to description, at first I did not add measurements, but what I realized is that pretty much everyone's gonna ask you for measurements. Not everyone, but a lot of people do end up asking for measurements if you don't have them. So I ended up just adding measurements every time I do a listing, because it's gonna save me the time of having to run to my closet, get it out, measure it, comment back, and all of that. I'd rather just put it in there, they can find it, and there's the answer. And sometimes it's gonna help a person, because instead of having to ask you, they have it right there. Because if they don't, instead of asking, they might just run off to another listing that has it. And next would be photos. So with a photo, try to have a well-lit photo. Sometimes I see people and they just like throw it up in the closet real quick and take a quick photo. But my biggest tip would be to wait until it's the day, so you have natural sunlight, put it on a blank wall, your white wall, put it on there, and then you will kind of mess with the brightness while you're taking the photo, and boom, you have a white background. And with a white background comes hopefully more sales, because when you have a solid white background, it's gonna boost your SEO or something. I'm not good with these terms, okay? But it's gonna boost your visibility when people are searching for that item on Google. Not just Poshmark, but when they're searching it on Google, if you have a solid white background, it's gonna pop up there for them. So that is like my hugest tip, because I do have some photos on mine that have a solid black background, but that is because those are lighter items, or it's like a white item, it's not going to show up on my white wall. And then with white backgrounds, of course, if it's on a wall, you're going to kind of see that bumpiness. So you can use an app, and the app that I use to make it more of a solid white and not that bumpy texture is Snapseed. This is Snapseed, that's what it looks like. And then after editing it and making it a solid white, I go up here and use the app InstaSize so that it makes it a perfect square, and then it would fit entirely on Poshmark, because for some reason Poshmark doesn't take the whole photo. And then also when you add a photo to Poshmark, it has this weird black line underneath, so you're always gonna have to kind of zoom in on the photo. So I really like to make it a big square so that you have more room to do all of that. And back with the listing, how everything in that description is searchable. They do have a category when you're filling everything out in the listing for colors, but it only lets you choose 2. So when it's like a very colorful item, you know, my biggest tip would be to list in the description colors and then a dash or whatever, and list out every single color in that, because then again, it's gonna help someone who's looking for that specific color. It's gonna pop up your listing for it. The next tip, 4th tip, would be sharing everything. So I always recommend sharing during Poshmark parties. They pretty much did the research and found out when everyone is most active in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. So you have 3 parties, I believe 3 or 4 parties in the day. I always recommend sharing during those parties because you're gonna get more people to see it because more people are on that app at that time. Of course, you're gonna share during the parties, but if you can't share during the parties, share another time. I would always recommend sharing your closet at least once a day. Share your closet, because if you're not sharing it, it's not getting out there. There's no eyes on your item. So as a example, my boyfriend has a Poshmark account, but he doesn't go on it. He doesn't share it, doesn't really use it, but he has items on there. And so the other day I took all of his items, I rephotographed them, and I listed them onto my account because I clearly share it multiple times a day. So after I did that, I sold at least 2 items of his. So I mean, you have to share your items for it to get out there, because if you don't, how are people gonna see them? Of course they have the option of just searching it, but sometimes people are just scrolling through and finding something. They're not always searching for something specifically. And then community shares. It's always nice to share other people's items because that's also gonna help with your items. And what I mean by that is if you're gonna share someone's item, they most likely are gonna click onto your account, they're gonna scroll through your items, which is a possible sale right there. And if not a sale, they're gonna share some of your items back, and then from there, they're sharing their items to their followers. So you get more eyes on that item. So it's a win-win for everyone. The next tip is don't spend your money on USPS boxes because you can get them for free. So what you do is you go onto Google, you're gonna type in USPS free shipping supplies, boom. You're gonna click on it. And then from there, you have all the boxes. They give you all the boxes for free. You can scroll through all of them. And they have padded poly mailers, regular poly mailers, boxes, regular boxes, boxes for your shoes, and yeah, this is how you would do it. And then you order that, add it to your cart, check out now, okay, sign in, I have an account, and then what you do is you just check out. So you see right here, it's free. You're gonna put your address and everything in, and they actually ship it to you for free and everything. They don't even ship it, they just drive it on over to your house for free. Leave it at your door and boom, you have your free boxes. And from there, all you have to do is print out your shipping label, put it on your free box, and send it on out to USPS. And the cool thing about it is that they're all prepaid labels, which means you don't have to stay in line. You just get to take it on over to the box, drop it in there, and you're good. You also have the ability with USPS to request a pickup from USPS for all of your packages for free. So you'll just Google USPS free next day pickup, go to schedule a pickup, and it has to be for the next day. So make sure it's not that day that you're trying to schedule it or anything. And that is about it. That is all my tips right there. I mean, I definitely have more tips, but for the meantime, this is the perfect way to get started on Poshmark, the cheapest way to get started on Poshmark, and the best way to get your items up there. I've been selling for a year and a half exactly now. I have sold 656 items, and I am a little under $8,500. So I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think this is what I'm doing. It's crazy to think that I'm almost at $10,000 in under 2 years. But you do have to take into account that I sell my coworkers things, I sell my friends things, I sell my boyfriend's things on there. There's also all the money that I've put into it. I've probably put in at least $1,000 into it. So you have to think about all of that. And you definitely can do it, because the way I got started was selling all of my clothes as well, selling my boyfriend's clothes, and then I went to Goodwill. If you learned anything from this video, if you liked this video, just leave a like below and subscribe so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Peace.